stop, cut the intro. Do not try to jump your dead car in the winter without checking that battery first. I'll wait for the camera to be adjusted before. Okay, so why am I telling you to stop? Why are we holding on? Your battery's already dead and it's cold, so you want to get going. Well, here's the problem. If you try to jump a battery and it happens to be frozen, it could explode. That's right. Like a bomb. There's one thing I don't like more than explosions. It's explosions with battery acid involved. So, how do we tell the difference? How do we know if it's frozen or if it's just dead? Well, there's a few things you want to look out for in a frozen battery. First off, you want to check to see if there's any cracks forming in the casing of the battery or if the battery casing is bulging out at all. So batteries have water in them. We'll talk more about that a little later. But batteries have water in them, so when it freezes, it expands. So if your battery's frozen, it might be bulging out, it might be trying to break out, it might be trying to crack. Good way to tell. Another way to tell, slosh it around. Can you hear or feel the liquid? Yes, you're good. No, might explode. So let's say you've inspected your battery and you find out that it's not frozen. Let's go. You're all good. You can just jump it and get going. Now, what happens if your battery is frozen? Well, it means that it's time to buy a new car. It's all over. It's all downhill from here. No, I'm kidding. So, what happens if your battery is frozen? Well, you kind of can't jump start it at that point. You should take the battery out of your car, take it to someplace warm inside where it can thaw out, and then you can try again to jump it in the morning. It's not very likely that it'll explode if you try to jump start it, but I don't like to take a lot of chances when it comes to explosions. So, did you know that the number one winter car problem is dead batteries? There's a few problems that come along with the cold temperatures. For one thing, cold temperatures reduce your car's battery voltage, which is bad in and of itself, but lower voltage batteries actually freeze earlier than higher voltage batteries. So while a fully charged battery might only freeze when it gets down to be negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit, a dead battery will freeze at 29 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a pretty common temperature if you live somewhere where it snows. So before I get ahead of myself talking about freezing points of batteries or lower voltage in cold weather, let's talk about how batteries actually work. Batteries are made with sulfuric acid and water. And there's a bunch of other stuff with the batteries, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to worry about that part much. The important part here is that sulfuric acid and water form an electrolyte that has a very low freezing point. However, that's only if it's fully charged. As the charge goes down, the freezing point goes up, so it's more likely to freeze in cold weather. So if you pulled up this video on your phone and your battery's already frozen, it's going to be rough for you. You got to thaw that thing out. But there are things you can do to avoid your battery being frozen. So there's products you can buy to make this easier. You can buy some battery blankets or block chargers. Never used these before. Seems a little overkill, but it's a way to deal with it. And you never have to think about it again. Probably. We had another polar vortex like 2019. That might be the time I pick up a battery blanket. I'm not trying to have a frozen battery in negative degree temperatures. You could also think about bringing in your battery inside on a sub-zero night, but the biggest thing you can do is make sure that your battery doesn't low run on charge. The biggest thing you can do is make sure that your battery is not about to die. Usually, if you have a healthy battery and you drive your car, you're not going to have a problem with this because your battery's not going to ever get low enough that the freezing point will rise high enough that it could freeze. But if you have an old battery and wintertime rolls around, then it could be a real problem. So here's a few things to look out for to tell if your battery might be needing replacing. If your headlights start getting a little bit low, some of your in-car accessories don't work. Sometimes a low battery can cause your engine light to go on, and then in newer cars, a lot of times they'll have an actual battery light. The one that I usually use is that my battery's old, and it struggles to start. Usually you can hear it goes before it finally catches. That's the time to change it out, because you don't want to change it out when it either won't start or if it's frozen and it won't start. So if you take these precautionary steps and you make sure to actually replace your battery if it's getting old, you don't have to worry so much about it ever freezing and making a car bomb. So in a perfect world, to avoid all of this before the weather gets cold, so in I don't know, where I live, maybe in September, I would make sure that everything's good with my battery, no real problems that I'm seeing, get a battery heater, get everything all set up so that I never have to even worry about it. But in the not-so-perfect world, I would watch out, keep an eye on what's going on with my car. If it doesn't start when it's cold, I'll actually check to make sure it's frozen before I try to jump it. If it's not frozen, jump it up, get going on the road. If it is frozen, well, looks like I'm late to work one day. But that's better than blowing up your car. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if it was helpful to you, go ahead and leave us a like. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and leave us a comment and let us know. We are on social media. You can see us at Instagram. You can see us at TikTok. And we have a website, bigred.media. Thanks for watching. See you later.